Hey everybody, how are you today? Happy Tuesday. I can't tell you guys how excited I am for Time to Lead Day 1 workshop. If you are seeing this live either on our business page, Be That Create That, or if you're seeing it live inside the Female Leader Headquarters, let me know in the comments because that way I know when you're on. Vanessa already said, there you are. Thank you, Vanessa, for that. We're going to utilize this chat as much as possible for you guys. And as you know, I absolutely love StreamYard. And part of the reason that I love StreamYard is because I can see the comments as long as you give it permission to use your name. Otherwise, it's just going to say Facebook user. And if it just says Facebook user, I can go into regular Facebook group and I can follow up with you that way as well. But I just feel like I can trust StreamYard a little bit more. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't even tell you how long Time to Lead has been on my mind. This has been something that I have wanted to share with you guys as a community forever. It is really, really important to me for women to know that they can lead from any position within their company. They can lead with a number of the strengths and traits that they have, and they get to do that. They get to do that. They get to balance family and work, and they get to balance what they love to do and what they feel like is their calling. And this cat never wants anything to do with me, and all of a sudden she's trying to claw at my lap. That's really fun. Okay, so I put together this 2-day workshop for you guys because I want to be respectful of your time. I'm a replay girl. You are probably a replay person as well. And if you are, that is okay. If you're with us live, let us know that you're live. If you're on replay, again, that's fine too. Just make sure that you're able to follow along in the comments and you'll get the most out of this workshop that you can, okay? So if you registered for the workshop, then you probably have, let me get over here, you probably have your workbook already, and it has some fill in the blanks for some of the things that we're going to go through today. If you do not already have that workbook, just shoot. Don't go anywhere. Don't squirrel. Just put workbook down below. And when you put it down below, I'll follow up and make sure that I send you that so that you have it for tomorrow. Today, all you're going to need is to make sure that you have something to take notes, because we know that as soon as we get squirreled into something else shiny that comes along, our attention is going to go to that. And I want you right here for the next 30 minutes. Okay. So this is actually going to be a 2-day workshop. So go ahead if you want and invite a friend to tomorrow. Even if they're not able to make it today, they'll be able to get the replay, and you will want to share this like the last deal you got on a TJ Maxx sweater, okay? Because we're going to go into a couple things that they're going to be able to take action steps on right away to be able to not only up-level their leadership, but also be able to next level their team. So get yes in the comments for those of you who are super proud of yourselves for taking the time to show up today and to show that you're excited that you're here. I mean, I'm an entertaining person, but I'm not necessarily here to like entertain myself. I always put the screen actually off to the side so I can't see my face when I do my lives, because I want to feel and know that I'm talking to you, because you are who is important to me and the people that are in our community. So again, let me give you down low on what's going to be happening. So this is going to be a 2-day workshop. It'll be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern today. It's going to be at 2:30 again tomorrow. We most likely will use StreamYard again because I can trust it. We're going to go ahead and use StreamYard again tomorrow as well. If you need the workbook, like I said, go ahead and put that down in the comments. You need some way to take notes, because you're only going to remember about 10% of what you hear. We remember 40% of what we read, and between 75 to 90 of what we're going to hear and what we write. So if you are going to intentionally show up, let's make sure that you are getting out of this exactly what you need. Okay. So I'm going to be sharing today 4 leadership styles, how personality traits and team traits are going to affect your results. Also, we're going to be opening up our mind to how we can either lead our team with a better understanding to take part in their growth, or how you can see how you can contribute to your team really even without a position or a title. And maybe leadership doesn't apply to you when it comes to work or your career. Maybe leadership for you is going to apply to volunteering. Maybe leadership for you is going to make you the matriarch of your family. Maybe leadership for you is the relationship you want to have with your children, right? So leadership is not just about career. Am I right? There are different places in our lives that we get the chance to lead. So if you have a specific place in your life that you're getting the chance to lead right now, make sure that you share that with us, because in this community, we have a group of women from all different walks of life, all different careers. One major thing that we have in common is the fact that we get to lead in some way. And you'll hear me say this a number of times on here today. Leading ourselves is the first step to knowing how to lead others. Having a vision for ourselves, knowing where we're going, knowing what we want to do is that first step to learning how to help our teams do the same thing. Our partners, the people we're working with, right? So when you're done with these next 2 days, you're going to have a couple of tools to help you evaluate and maybe better understand yourself, your team. And what I really want is for you to feel confident in your role leading as part of any group setting. And I want to share with you that this is just the surface. There's only so much that I can jam pack into 30 minutes for you guys in 2 days. Okay. So yes, there is more behind the scenes. And towards the end of that, with your permission, I will offer that to you as well in case that's something that interests you more. Okay. So first, let me share with you guys, I am not quiet about the fact that when I was first promoted at 18 to a ship supervisor role, that I was an awful boss. I am not kidding. I was the worst. I was really, really good at my job. Really good at my job. But a lot of times the people who are really great at their jobs are not the ideal people to lead others, because they don't always understand what it means. Can I get an amen with this? They don't always understand what it means to not know. They forget that learning process because it came a little easier to them. I was cocky. I tried to do everything myself. I spent unnecessary hours at the restaurant, and I told people what to do without understanding them or their input or what they wanted first. I was just interested in my growth, the growth of our restaurant, and what I could envision as like a promotion in my career. I knew where I wanted to go. I didn't necessarily know where the rest of my team wanted to go. So I definitely didn't put myself in a position to be able to help them develop as well. How many of you guys have had a boss like that? What's interesting now is I've done a training before on the difference between a leader and a manager, and that's a whole nother time spread. But I actually kind of get offended when someone calls me boss. And I think it's because way back then, I had a boss. We've got 7 people on. That's awesome. Big shout out to you guys for jumping on, showing up for yourself. I understand some of you could be just listening to this on either replay or you're listening to it on your lunch, but I honor you for taking the time to show up. Nice job. So I rarely had team members that I considered to be friends at that time because I drew a very dark black line with many of them. But then I held this like light gray line for a few others. It just wasn't fair and it wasn't an equal culture. This led to unhappy crews, overwork, burnout from me because I was trying to do everything myself and I didn't know how to delegate. And although I reached my goal of becoming a top position in my company, I had very little network. I had very little personal growth to show for that. I was constantly having to rebuild my team. I was constantly having to rehire, to train. I had to apologize for my sharp tongue. I had to explain my reasons for making decisions without talking to my direct supervisor. I mean, I could look back later and see that a lot of that was being self-conscious and a lack of confidence, a lack of vision, a lack of knowing what I wanted. But I was also doing a job that was well under what I felt like were my abilities. And I felt like I was stuck there because of my own choices. And I'll say it was a choice. So it made me bitter, moody, unfocused, overstressed. And I was only dove into work. So I was in that position for about 7 years. I thought I had a vision of some high power career. I love to travel. So travel has always been something that's been part of my vision for my career. I thought I had that vision. And then I was always looking at like, what was the next award the restaurant could get, the next celebration, the next event that we could plan. It was always next, 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 next. And it was typically me feeling like I either had to come up with those things or I had to make sure that I had some sort of control over them happening. And if you've ever worked for somebody like this, or you've done this yourself, you understand how quick that burnout can happen. So I made the decision about a year after the Hubs and I were married that if we wanted to start out our family, this level of stress in my position was never going to allow that to happen. So I was recruited by another company making a lot less money in 2011. And it became really apparent to me at that point that I needed to spend more time figuring out what I wanted from a life and not so much just about work. And that's where that journey of work around family and life came in comparison to working family and life around work. Like, what is the priority? So I was recruited by that other company in 2011. We became pregnant with my first child a week later. I mean, talk about meant to be. It couldn't have happened any better. So in that new role, I was working for a retail company, and you guys have heard me talk about Maurice's before. I absolutely loved working for Maurice's. I was no longer the breadwinner of our family, and I often had to admit the fact that I was putting my career and my visions aside at that point to start a family, and it was really hard for me to swallow. I didn't really realize until later that that was a really necessary time for me, and it was a necessary thing for it to happen at that moment. So inside both companies, there were going to be opportunities for me to develop team members, take and actually lead some different trainings like Train the Trainer. We earned awards, trips, travel. I even wrote the training program for the first company, and I led our district in team development in the second company. And still, I had so much to learn. I really tried to learn something new every single day and immerse myself in personal development. So in 2015, I literally drove like headfirst into making sure that I was being the leader, the mom, in the relationships, the friend that I needed to be. You know, the section at Barnes and Noble that used to be called self-help? Yeah, now that's called personal development. It's a little sexier now, right? So I made a decision. I put a focus on personal development, on serving my team, on creating and stabilizing a team culture. And I had this vision for, even if I couldn't pay the most at the time for the people that were going to come onto my team, I wanted it to be a place that they absolutely loved to work. They felt cared for. They felt communicated with. And you'll hear me say this in a number of my trainings by Jim Rohn. He says, you can get everything that you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want. I really believed that. So I really tried to gear everything, literally eat, sleep, and breathe, everything geared towards personal growth and my growth of my team. So in 2018, I took that out of the corporate setting. And for the first time, I started creating the LLC that you guys see now. That was really focused on leading women who are in business. And I say, I want to help them get confidently to that next level. As soon as we stop, as soon as that growth stops, we've got nothing. I still learn something new every single day. Growth is still my main focus, but now it's not just about me. Now I grow because I have really invested in growing others. I love to see other people. I live for seeing people become confident in the next thing that they're taking on. I also love being in this ditch myself, right? So as a lot of you know, I actually hired a coach last year. I actually have 2 coaches right now that I'm working with because I really believe if you are the, smartest, most achieved person in the room, most accomplished, whatever, dude, you're in the wrong room because you're not growing. And yes, I can continue to grow by leading my team, but I can only teach them as far as I know, right? So the more and more that I stretch myself, the more and more that I look for those opportunities, then the more and more I'm going to be able to help them and give them more. And that's priceless to me, priceless to my company. So time to lead is what we're in right now. And this is, like I said, a 2-day workshop. So when I came up with time to lead, I said, this is ideal for women business leaders who they want to make an impact on their team, on their company, on their career, on their business. She knows that she has value to bring, but it's time to step out from the crowd, right? She's tired of struggling. She wants to make a difference. She wants to be seen. She wants to be heard. She knows that she can create a ripple effect with her impact. She wants to balance. I've shared this before. Work around family and life was really hard, but it's necessary and it's a choice. She wants to feel so confident in her way of living that she does not fear for the future of her family. She does not fear for the future of herself. And she just trusts that the choices and the ideas that are generated from that are going to create legacy, wealth, not just for her, but for more people. I love when people call and they say, you know, I worked for you when I was 14 or 15. I was on that team. Now my kid is old enough to work. Can I send them to fill out an application? And I'm like, man, I could have done such a better job then. But what an honor, you know, what an honor to have some of those second generation people coming to work with us at the restaurant. So that's who Time to Lead is for. But I also want to share with you who I feel like Time to Lead is not for. So Time to Lead is not for any woman who feels like she's at the top of her game. I like to work with people who are open-minded and they can see farther down the road what they want, what they're going after. And if they can't see it, they still know there's something. But our strategy of working together is to figure out what that thing is. So the woman who does not want Time to Lead is going to be someone who just doesn't understand why or how to help other people, and they just don't see that it's beneficial for them. It's also not for the woman who wants all the credit and believes that people should just be happy to have a job, because that is not what it's about these days. I believe every single woman has a leadership voice inside her. It's calling her to the next level to impact the lives of others. It's a ripple effect. She feels called to help, to serve, to mentor, to guide. But she has to start with herself, because any woman who can lead herself first can lead others. Here are some things that some people have said about working with me. Let me pull up that real quick. So if you guys go to my business page, you may see a couple reviews. If you've worked with me before, either in a group or a one-on-one client setting, you're welcome to throw testimonials in there as well. But relatable, approachable, no nonsense. Anyone looking for guidance and personal development is the right person to follow. I feel like that's an honor, you know, having someone understand that where they started was with somebody who absolutely believes in them it's a legacy, right? And I love that the restaurant's been able to be a part of that. But I also love that people see things like that in themselves. All right. So if you have your workbook, let's make sure that you get your workbook out. If you do not have it and you're on replay, like I said earlier, just throw workbook down below, because I will make sure that you get that link to register so that you can actually get the workbook, okay? Because I want you to be able to take notes. And the very first page is going to say, Day 1, personal leadership style, okay? So inside personal leadership style is where we're going to start. Now, there are lots and lots of leadership quizzes out there. There's Clifton Strengths, there's Strengths Finder, there's Enneagram, there's True Colors, there's DISC, there's Myers-Briggs, there's so many more. Throw down in the comments if you have taken some of these, or maybe like what your favorite one is. I'll just click over to comments real quick and see if I can see those. So Vanessa says she's live. Awesome, girl. Okay. So if you want to, over in that chat, make sure you put down, and I say over in that chat because on StreamYard, it's a chat box along the edge, almost like Zoom. And then in the Facebook group, it'll come up and I can see it later and I can respond back to you guys as well. But so there's Clifton Strengths, Enneagram, True Colors, there's Myers-Briggs, there's DISC. And in the time frame that I've been in any sort of leadership or managerial role, I've been through, if not all of those, a piece of those, right? So my belief is that these 3 types of quizzes and assessments, whatever, they kind of, when you take those, you take out of them what you can do something with. You learn, you grow, you get real, you focus on one thing. You love on your strengths. In fact, I feel like strengths are something you should double down on. Why should you not be good as hell at something that you know is a strength for you? Why should you not continue to build that, right? Do we just set aside our opportunities? Absolutely not. We need to be aware of those opportunities, but we also need to see how our opportunities are going to balance out our strengths. So at the very top of your sheet, you have something that says, I would describe my leadership style as. And when you want to do that, I want you to pick 3 words. So 3 words, whatever first one comes to mind, like do not candy coat this for yourself. We are about being real, getting honest, no nonsense, right? You cannot grow if you're not honest with yourself. So 3 words that you feel like would best describe your leadership style. And if you feel called to, or feel like you could, throw those in the chat so that we can kind of talk about some of those words that come up. Some examples of words that you might be writing down would be inspiring, communicative. Maybe you're someone who feels like you're a collaborator, influential, energetic, charismatic, driven. These are just examples. Committed. Maybe you follow that servant leadership, motivating. Maybe you're somebody who feels dedicated, humble, again, inspirational. I wrote that down twice. Is that a huge surprise? Huge surprise for anybody? Maybe you're somebody who one of your personality or traits or leadership style is that you're a planner. You have a visionary. So what would be 3 words that come to mind when you think about your personal leadership style? And write those in that first box. And then in the next box, you guys are going to see the letters D, C, S, and D. So Kim shares that she feels dedicated, caring, lead by example. Yes, 100%. And knowing Kim, I know that those things are very valuable to her. So I can definitely see that. Lead by example is one that is really important to myself as well, because I feel like even if I don't give someone feedback, if I am able to lead in a way that they can learn from me, then they can do things in a similar way that I do. Everybody's going to put their own spin on things. But if I say, this company is all about work culture, this company is all about family, about team members, but then I don't show that, then I'm not leading by example, and I'm not going to get that from my team, right? Someone else says passionate, eager, kindness, passionate. Yes. You have to be passionate about what it is that you're doing. You don't have to be passionate about everything. I'm not always passionate about cleaning the bathrooms on Saturday morning, right? But I'm passionate about the business succeeding. I'm passionate about my clients. I'm passionate about your success. I am passionate about this Facebook group. There are times that I have to schedule things to go into the Facebook group like days ahead, because I'll be reading something and I'll get so dang inspired that I'm like, oh my gosh, she has to see this. So I go to put it in the Facebook group and I'm like, I've already posted in there twice today and I don't want them to miss it. So I'll schedule it out. That's one of the nice things about Facebook groups. And I remember one of the people in the group once being like, you get up so early in the morning. And I'm like, girl, some of that stuff, I mean, I get up early in the morning, but some of that stuff, that's all scheduled out. All right. So on your sheet in the second box, you're going to see D, C, S, D. So again, this is just 4 leadership styles that I'm going to share with you that I found as examples, and I felt like we had some good takeaways from them, that you will be able to, same thing as if you take StrengthsFinder, DISC, Myers-Briggs, True Colors, any of those, that you can take something from it and you can grow and you can learn and you go, ooh, that sounds like me in a good way. Or you might go, ooh, that sounds like me and I need to be better at that. Okay. So the first one is going to be direct. Is one of your leadership styles direct? If someone can type that first one in the chat, that would be super helpful as we go along. So direct. True leadership skills are not required when you're telling someone else what to do, how to do it, and when it needs to be done until it comes to the tone in your voice. This makes this style really more of a management tool than it does a leadership tool. The leadership tool in this is learning the different styles of the people that are around you and understanding I have to be direct and I have to give them direct feedback, and they're not going to take it as well, or they're not going to feel as comfortable with it if I don't think about the way that they take feedback the best. If I don't think about the way that they need to be communicated with. And we've talked about this a little bit before in the love languages, but the directing style is useful when one is working with maybe like contractors, freelancers, for example, or when the work is outsourced, or you have just a super clear idea of what you need done and what the outcome should be. You would use more of like a telling style when you're directing. And in that case, there needs to be super clear direction. And that way you can communicate what you want in a very productive way. And they don't really need a high level of support in that way. So the directing style would not be useful if you're managing like a direct team. It actually would hinder the growth and prevent some development or like some inspiration in the culture. We want to be very careful with direct when we're working with a smaller team. Your second one, C, is going to be a coach leadership style. So I would say that this maybe fits more into what my vision is for my leadership style. So leaders are visionaries. We know that. They build a vision and they direct their team to achieve the vision. They have all the ideas out in the clouds, right? So the second one is a coach. However, in order to successfully direct those teams and accomplish what they're going after, they need to sell their idea like a vision. They need to make all the people that are involved bring it to fruition. So it's not only done through effective communication, but it also has to be exciting and motivating and like freaking go team, right? Get the team members really wholeheartedly into the endeavor. So your coach is like, what could we do? What do you think, right? So when I think of like a coach type of leadership style, I also think of a selling style. You as the leader are introducing a new or like a refined vision. And although the vision was not formed by the team members, a lot of it does come from you at first. You need their buy-in in order to ensure that they're motivated to go after it and to achieve the end goal. So this style is best used when your team is made up of like individual contributors or like a full-time staff. All right. Any questions on that one? I'll see if there's any questions in the chat. So first one was direct. Thank you, Kim, for that. Second one is going to be coach. Our third one is going to be support. So if you have more of a supportive leadership style, then this is about collaboration. It's about working together, sharing ideas, suggestions, solutions, but you're in a group. And then you're having the final say as the leader. You're like, okay, I hear you. I see you. This is what we're doing based off of what we just talked about. So this is a rather inspiring leadership approach because the team members, they feel considered. They feel like they're contributing to the decision-making process. And because the style is really low when it comes from directing, then it gives some individual space that people can themselves and kind of lead through the process. But they know that their leader is there to support them, not directly hold them accountable for the outcome should it fail. So they feel like they're more open to be able to talk about their ideas. So when you've got that supportive, collaborative style, it's really useful when a task just needs to be carried out, but does not need like initial involvement of the main leader until a decision needs to be made. For example, when one of your team members are like hiring an employee, we're doing a lot of hiring at the restaurant right now. They have full control over the recruitment process, right? Interviewing, screening, where are they resourcing those people from? But you as the leader, the support, have this final say. It's based off of their input, their ideas, their suggestions, but at the very end, it's you saying, okay, why did you ask those questions? What were you hoping to get out of that? Do you feel like you found the right individual? And then the collaborative leadership style is really good with this, because then you're leading that person into later on maybe being in more of a developmental role where they are going to be able to make those final supportive decisions. Does that make sense? So number 3 was supportive, your S. All right, your next one is going to be delegate. So delegating is like a swear word, I feel like, in the boss, manager, leader world, because there are many people that feel like delegating is a form of weakness, like they can't do it on their own. I would tell you, I was majorly enlightened when I felt like I was empowered from my mentor when I worked for the retail company, saying to me, when you delegate to an individual, you actually are showing them a lot of growth, because you're showing them that you trust them. You're taking something off your plate. Like that's a whole nother open can, right? But when we're talking about from a leadership style, delegating is another leadership style that's really good if you're leading a team of like senior leaders, directors, managers, maybe people who have been there for a while, right? Because there isn't a lot of direction or support. The leader just says, okay, you have full authority to, make this final decision, to do this thing, to create this thing. But then the person is also fully accountable to it. So the delegating leadership style is useful when you really fully trust the decision-making abilities of your individual. And it's used a lot by like CEOs who need to take a lot off of their plates, higher end executives, right? So they fully trust the capabilities of the people because of their emotional maturity or their experience, or they have some sort of proven record that they've been able to do these things. So this would not be something that you would want to use all by itself with maybe junior or mid-level staff, unless you really feel like you can also add that supportive piece. So there will be times that some of these have to be meshed, right? So you would have had direct, coach, supportive, delegate. It's just 4 styles, right? Pick and choose. So if there's one that you feel like stands out most to you that you really appreciate, leave that in the chat. If you're like, yep, I can see that, the supportive style is definitely me with a majority of my crew. Or maybe you think, nope, I am the coach. I love being the coach. I could probably be even better at delegating, but I love being the coach. Then share that down below as well. So here's the key. You need to, and this is where your blank is, you need to know your personality traits. Know your personality traits. And the reason I say that is because once we are completely open and aware and clear with ourselves, then we can, again, be more clear and aware of the things that are going on inside others. So right underneath that box, you're going to see in your workbook, it says know your blank traits. That's going to be personality traits. Another reason that this piece is really important is when we're talking about our team and we're trying to think of who we need maybe to round out our team, we would want to think, okay, if I'm really driven or I really like to be social, then, and maybe I like to be really creative, then I need to have somebody who is more decisive. I need to have maybe somebody who is more technical. I might need to have somebody who maybe they're an introvert, but maybe it's in a way that like they are calm, so it makes other people feel comfortable that are on the team. So know your personality traits and then know your strengths and opportunities. This is a chance for you to get real clear about yourself. And that's where it starts. And sometimes that's the hardest part. The key that we're going to start with tomorrow. So you've got a couple different boxes here in the bottom. It says key takeaways from day one. That's all you, boo. Action steps that you're going to take. That's all you as well. If there's something down below that you'd like to share in the chat that you feel like is your action step, then awesome. Let's put that in the chat so I can help hold you to that and I can help support you with that. But in the box under where it says know your blank and blank strengths and opportunities, get really clear with yourself. One of the things that I want you to do to prepare for tomorrow, for day 2, is write out everything that you can think of, strengths and opportunities wise. Everything you can think of. I know for some of you that might feel a little overwhelming. Then if that's the chance, then just pick your top 3 that come to mind. Okay. So your strengths and your opportunities go in that box. Okay. So a key that we're going to start with tomorrow is once we understand ourselves, how we lead, how we communicate, how we value work, how we value work ethic, we're going to be able to see others where they are and where they're contributing from, which may even change our leadership style dependent upon who we're working with, right? So we will see more value in them, the team dynamics, the opportunities, as we begin to open up for ourselves and more of a direct impact on the team and the company. This is all about the ripple effect. This is how it begins. So my biggest concern is that there are women out there, powerful women, that are going through the motions of their day. They're going to bed at night with ideas that could make this huge impact on their companies, on themselves, on their families, on their careers, on their businesses. And those are just disappearing. Some of it could be confidence. Some of it could be lack of what they feel like is time. Some of it could be lack of commitment. Some of it is them thinking that they're just not going to be able to make a change. They're not going to be able to make a difference. Who am I, right? So tomorrow our conversation is going to specifically be around an acronym that I like to use that's just is LEAD, lead. And I wanted to share that in this 2-day workshop because I think it's super important. But it is okay for you to look for opportunities. I'll tell you that that's the very first one in lead. Look for opportunities. It is okay. You don't have to have a position or a title in order to make a difference or make a change. Maybe you want to completely reinvent yourself. Who knows? But you don't have to do that by leaving a company or leaving a career. You can do that within the realm of what you're doing right now. And it just comes down to choices. So if you guys are interested, I also have this Time to Lead program that's actually going to launch into a 6-week group coaching. I'm crazy excited about this. So Time to Lead is going to be a 6-week program that's actually going to start on March 23rd. So you have until March 23rd, and it's actually going to go through May 4th. If you are interested in that in any way or just want more details on it, just put me down below and I'll make sure that you get that over to you. The 6-week group is where we're going to be assessing your team. We're going to talk about your goals for your company or for your career. We're going to talk about your communication style, your vision. I'm going to make sure you have an accountability partner in that group. There's going to be a weekly Zoom, a private Facebook group, and the value of this, because my coaching is definitely, the value of this is going to be insane. I am a under promise, over deliver person. So for you, the investment is only going to be $797 for a 6-week program that's group coaching, an accountability partner, and one-on-one offered. I think it's an amazing value. I'm also only offering through this workshop that $797, and anyone who wants to get on a connection call, that's going to be a free 15-minute call. I've done a number of those since our last workshop, and I just absolutely have loved those. I'm going to put that link up for you guys so that you can see that as well. This is generous. Get on that scheduled call because I want to help you get to that next level. And sometimes you just need someone to listen. You need to come up with an action step. You need some strategy, right? And you just need to talk it out. And that's what I'm here for. That's what our group is for. That's what our community is here to help you with. Okay. So if you were going to be here tomorrow for day 2, specifically for day 2, I'm going to introduce you to the LEAD acronym. We're going to talk about the one way that I can begin making impact is by, and I'm going to give you some numbers of ways to do that as well. If you have anybody who you think will benefit from the rest of this workshop, tag them down below because it will automatically show them to get in the group and do the replay. I can get them their workbook that way so they feel best prepared for tomorrow, or you can also send me a direct message. I want to make sure that I'm really respectful of your time. I'm so proud of myself for being under the 45 minutes. Yes. If there's any questions, you can put those in the comments down below afterwards, and I will definitely go back and take care of those questions for you. Tomorrow, 2:30, StreamYard, same place inside the group. I'm super excited to work with you guys. And don't forget to get on that super generous call and really think about Time to Lead, that 6-week program, because it is going to be next level leadership for many of you. You guys have a great day.